Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl, Dr. Cooper. It's time for the dialogue. Y'all ready? Tag, share, and invite. We're starting off on a good vibe. I figured I'd give you some East Coast kind of rhythm because we got AB on the line. So I don't know if he listened to these people, but this Slum Village, Tainted Love. Hey, hey, hey. So we are on Facebook Live. Tag, share, and invite. I'm Dr. Constance Cooper. I have my co-host, Dr. J. Jatendra McCray. Please get her book, In the Pew, Dead in the Pew. Let me get that right, Dead in the Pew. Then I got my other co-host, Pastor Gregory Devon. You know, he is a travel agent. Y'all got to visit his website. But then we got our friend from the East Coast, life coach. Get your marriage together, coach. A.B. Brissell. We are in the building. Listen, after you tag, share, and invite, the Cash App is down there. If you feel so led to sow, please sow it to the ministry. We needed to keep going. We're going to another level. We're ready to launch out into deep. I got big plans for this platform. So without further ado, let me invite everybody and put them on the platform. Here you go, guys. My guests or my co-host. Okay. There goes Dr. J. We waiting
Hey,
on Greg, but I'm gonna put him in. And then they'll go AB. Hey everybody. Y'all hear my jam?
hello.
Y'all hear my music? Can y'all hear it?
Yeah, but I
Yep.
don't know who that is.
Tainted Love gets down. Y'all know I love music. Okay, let me stop playing. We'll turn it down. So the topic that we're gonna discuss today. I didn't give AB any information because I know he's such an intelligent guy. But I did tell my co-host. So here's the thing, but I did put it out there on Facebook. I hope this thing, let me make sure that I got this on public, you guys. Dr. J, introduce yourself. Let me figure out my little dynamics over here. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dr. J. I am an author. Title of my book is Dead in the Pews. I'm a life coach. I am a mother to an amazing 14-year-old son, a businesswoman, counselor, you name it. God says it, I do it. Looking forward to having a really good dialogue today.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, AB. We waiting on Greg. We don't know what he's doing, but he's doing funny.
All right. How's everybody doing this evening? My name is A.B. Bracewell. I am a therapist. I am also an author of two books, From Relational Hurt to Spiritual Healing, and the other one is Ready for Relationships. And this is what I do for a living: help people build happy, healthy relationships. Thanks for having me on the show once again.
Well, we loved you last time, so we had to invite you back. I feel like the time was so short with you. I wanted you to come back. We want to pick your brain. We like your input too, though, right? Don't we, Dr. J? It's a balance of masculinity versus
Yeah,
this
it's good.
femininity, right?
Got some help. Pastor Greg could hold his own, but we got some support.
Come on now. Pastor Greg trying to hold it down for all of us. You got your keyboard ready, Pastor Greg? Introduce yourself.
How y'all doing? I am Pastor G. Gregory Devon. I thank you guys for being patient with me. I had a little technical glitch, but I am here, ready to shake, rock, and roll. I was on a podcast last night at 7, and I tried to get that audience over here, so hopefully they'll tune in here as well.
Yeah, we hope that they do too. So you guys remember, I had inboxed you in our private little group about the topics that I wanted to talk about this evening. Guys, make sure you guys are sharing this on your platform too so we can get some more views up. This is something that I've grown to love, what I do with Dr. J and Pastor G. We've grown tremendously, and I appreciate and I value you guys. And so, coming soon on the Divinely Exquisite channel, we will be uh, launching this platform. The Lord has opened up the door for us to go nationwide, international. So I'm excited about that. And I always said, y'all help me build it. We going together. So yeah, that's probably why my car got broken into because
Oh,
God
wow.
is opening up so many doors. I'm not, can you tell that I'm bothered by it? Not in the least little bit. I actually sat up on my bed and did like this.
Look, as long as
Looked at
you're
my
okay.
phone. Looked at my phone and said, okay. Thank you, Lord. I don't know what it is, but I'm grateful. Hallelujah. But then I
Hallelujah.
thought about it. Oh, I know what it is. I'm elevating. Anyway, to God be the glory. Now, back to the dialogue. So you guys know that this discussion is about relationships between a man and a woman. Basically, we talk about being single, but I know most of y'all not single no more. I think I'm the only one single. Are you still single, Dr. J?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Shade. What about you, Pastor Fred?
I'm single.
Okay. Well, AB, and you?
I'm in a relationship.
Okay, so that's not the same as Dr. J. I'm not single anymore. So you're in a relationship. I like both definitions. They're cute.
Well, I mean, when people say single, I guess the textbook, help me out, AB, it's unmarried. But if I'm in a relationship, I personally do not consider myself single because I'm not available.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that I'm not single. I am
Gotcha.
unmarried though.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I just define it. I'm in a relationship. I know people can define it all types of ways. When you say single, you say, oh, but you're not married, so that means you're single. But everybody, it's just semantics to me.
Right.
People play around with the word, but once I'm not available, that means I'm not single. I'm not married, but I'm not single either.
Right.
Well, I'm so single I carry a pocket full of wands. Y'all folks
But we're
laugh
not
at me
gonna do
too,
today,
though.
Dr. C. We're not gonna do the corn nuts. We're not today.
The giggles, the chuckles. I mean, what would we be without laughter? I'm so single
What
I
did
carry
you
a
say?
pocket full of wands. I'm just like, here.
A pocket full of ones.
Single
I've never
$1
heard that
bill.
one.
Single. They're all singles. Anyway, so the topics that I wanted to talk about, and I was going to get into my study before I was rudely interrupted with repair of my window. But one of the things, and I try to do some statistics, but I do know I wanted to talk about long distance relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Who's ready to dig into that one?
Let's do it.
Let's dig.
Do you guys believe that a long distance relationship can work? And if so, how does it work? Who's going to be first to tackle that?
I'll tell ladies first.
Okay, I'll jump in. Yes, I believe they can work. There definitely has to be an understanding between the two parties.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be very much open communication, transparency, expectations have to be set. You have to be open and honest. You didn't ask for my opinion, but I'm personally not a fan of them. But I do believe that they can work.
What about you, Pastor Greg? What you think?
They can definitely work. I think that it takes the same thing it takes for natural relationships that are local. It just takes a different level of what you're giving. And I say that because if someone, is a state away or 2 states away, then it takes consistency no matter where they're at. But it takes a different level of consistency when you're long distance, because I don't have the luxury of, let's say that we get into a disagreement. I don't have the luxury of showing up at your house with some roses because you are a state away. You know what I'm saying? So I think it takes a different level, but it's the same sort of things, but to step it up a notch because they are a state away. Be careful about what you say when you say it, only because, again, having some distance between you, you got to realize the potential for things to be taken out of context increases because you are away from each other. Therefore, you are unintentionally disconnected. So because you are disconnected in some sense, do whatever you can do to make sure that you always operate in the space in between that to make sure that your partner is okay.
So then I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna let you answer AB, but I always think that there is no distance in spirit and in your heart connection. I always feel like because of the times that we're in, there is no excuse not to try to be romantic or try to be, giving in that sense. I mean, there's so many ways that you can be a giving person. And I know the U.S. Postal Service is at the bottom of the mailing slot right now. They're getting on my last entire nerve. Every time I mail something, it's taking 19 months to get there. Forgive me for the exaggeration, but it's taken a long time. I feel like I got to ship something via FedEx or UPS nowadays in order for it to get there on time. But you can always send roses, edible arrangements. You can order shoes. You can order bags. You can order shaving kits. You can order whatever you want. You can have cologne delivered to your boo. I mean, whatever you want to do, you can do it if you want to do it. There's a way. There is what you call it, virtual dating. Now, does it get tiring?
Right.
Probably. It takes a little sacrifice. Of course it does. You have to be committed to being committed to doing the work that it's going to take to make it work, because it's always just a flight away. You know what I mean? Flights is cheap. It's a flight away, boo. What you want to do? Go ahead, AB. Tell me what you had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely could work. Kind of like you say, you just have to be willing to put in the work so that it can work. It takes a little bit more patience. It takes a little bit more self-control. It takes a little bit more understanding. You definitely have to be an individual that has your own life, where you can occupy your time, occupy your day, because you don't have that close contact with your significant other where you can see them on a daily basis. So you definitely have to have your own purpose, and be on your own journey, because you're gonna have to be doing your own thing during the times you're apart. But yeah, kind of like the pastor said, it takes a little bit more for it to work. But I think if two people are willing to make it happen and willing to put in the effort and the dedication to make it happen, that it can definitely work.
Yeah.
I also wanted to touch on the whole commitment part about it. Like you said something, and it's a little nugget, and I said it too, but you have to be committed to being committed. Because oftentimes, we know this as being pastors and ministerial people, the humble beginning part about anything is being patient, making room for time zones, but also just being patient, understanding that because the disconnect and because there's no way to really interact, to really feed off somebody's energy,
Right.
Because when you're in close proximity of somebody, you're able to be like, okay, you can tell by body language if they like something. You can tell by, what the effort that they put into coming to meet with you, to take you out on a date or take you to a movie or just take you for coffee, whatever that case may be. You can see the energy, the effort, in other words. I mean, what you guys think?
Well, you talk about commitment. I think that for a lot of people, that's the reason that relationships, period, fail, locally or long distance, because I think commitment is so misunderstood because we are confusing commitment with refusing to break up. Those are two different things. There are a lot of people who are in even marriages who just refuse to break up or refuse to divorce. It's not the same thing as commitment, because commitment is not being together, it's building together. And the reality is a lot of times we don't even know what we're trying to build together. So therefore, you and I don't have a roadmap. We don't have a GPS to guide us through this.
Right.
We live in a society today where we actually have on our phones and in our cars a GPS to lead and to guide us to a set destination. But the reality is we have failed in life a lot of times, even as Christian singles, to go old school. Old school had a map. You had to read it. We don't use the Bible for practical things. We don't use the Bible to learn what commitment and love is. Therefore, we're getting inside of these relationships. We do not know, first of all, where we're going. And then we don't know how to remain committed to build something And even if you do know what you want to build, do you know how to build it? Do you
Right.
know then how to maintain it? Do you know then that even though you're operating now in this space of a house called love, well, this house is going to sometimes need maintenance. You know, sometimes you get a crack in the wall. Sometimes, you know, the different rooms in the house, you know, just need to be fixed and maintained. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes we get so busy in the hustle and bustle of life that we don't realize that, you know, cars need maintenance, houses need maintenance, and we are good at acquiring the things. Like we do a lot of discussion, not so much here, but other places about how to find a man, how to get a woman. That's not the challenge. In this society today, with all due respect to anybody, a man can find a man. So why can't you? Woman can find a woman. So why can't you? That's not the deal. The deal is once you find what you're looking for, what do you do then? How do you maintain this thing? Anybody can find a relationship. Can you find the right relationship? And I'm in here. The truth of the matter is sometimes God gives us the relationship that we prayed for, but we are not ready or prepared to maintain that which God has given. And then we say things like this: well, what God has for me is for me. I say to that, find me that scripture, and you won't find it.
No.
My thing is this: do I believe what God has for you is for you? I do. I also understand that God may have things for you, and what God has for you is for you, but it may end up being what God intended for you because you did not have the tools and the necessary skills to remain in this thing.
Dr. J, I got a question for you. We as women have a tendency to be emotional creatures, and we will break up with someone knowing that the relationship. And I'm matter of fact, this ain't just for Dr. J. Let me take that back. I apologize. This is for the men too. When you break up with someone or the relationship ends horribly,
Mhm.
do you think there is a possibility for reconciliation to try again?
I do. It depends on, you know, what grounds, what horribly is. But when you have two mature adults and you can talk about it, level, like be really honest about what happened, what went wrong. Yes, it's possible. I've experienced it and it was better than it was before. But there are also, I've had a relationship that ended horribly. And quite honestly, I have no desire to find out what would happen if we did come together. And I hope to God we don't. But you definitely, you can. It's all about, you know, being an adult and being mature about the matter. But yeah, you can recover and reconcile. Absolutely.
Mhm.
What about you, AB?
I mean, I would agree. Me too. I've been in relationships that didn't end well, but after some time, after sincere apologies, growth, maturity, and a change of habits and behaviors, we were able to get back together and do it again. It probably didn't last the second time, but that doesn't mean we wasn't able to get back together and still have a happy and healthy relationship. I think the most important thing when something like that, did the person grow? Is their apology true and sincere? You know, is there a change in the person's behavior towards you? And whatever broke you guys up, and then you know you can start from there to start over. But yeah, I think it really depends on what happened, but I think even bigger than that, on who the person has become after what happened.
Okay. Greg?
I definitely agree with AB and Dr. J with what they said. And I would add that I think one of the biggest reasons that makes reconciliation difficult and challenging is that we refuse to not allow our ego to make us apologize. And my thing is, you got to sacrifice your ego for the one you love. And sometimes we don't want to do that because we're stuck on it's not my fault or I didn't do anything. And neither of those things really matter if you desire to reconcile. And my thing is, at the end of the day, the strength of love has to make you understand that love itself can bear the weight of anything. The question is not love. The question is, what do you will to do? And a lot of times we don't want to question our will. Like, does your will desire to move past your feelings? And will you operate in faith? And if you said you love this person and wanted to be with this person, then does your fortitude make you move forward in that truth and try to work things out and reconcile that relationship? But a lot of times our ego just gets in the way of that. And we don't allow love to do what love can do. Love has a healing property. Love has a property which goes from breast to breast, heart to heart. And if we choose to get in that space, then anything is possible. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that every broken relationship should come back together. I'm not. But I am saying that if there's something on the inside of you that desires to try, then you should explore that and let the strength of love do what it does.
So I think for me, with the bad breakup, I have given it a chance, come back, revisited, and it's almost like you get this different person in the beginning, and then all at once, there goes the real person all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? They just come up and it's like, should have stayed with that decision. But I matured. So I'm able to say, you know what? We can agree to be friends from this point on. You know, I have nothing bad to say about you. There's nothing bad that I want to say. You know, hopefully you don't say anything bad about me. And I just think as an adult perspective, you just move forward. Yeah. Okay, that was a great question. Here's my next question.
One more thing in 10 seconds. Okay. There's a difference between a bad breakup and a bad relationship. So I want to preface my last statement by saying that. Okay. If, you could have a decent relationship, but a bad breakup.
Correct. I agree.
That's actually a good point, Greg.
That is a very good point. So then let me ask you this. I was going to go into this question. Have you ever been in love or really cared about someone and they didn't feel the same? Go ahead, AB. I want to see your face because I like the way you don't have no expressions sometimes. It's so off the cuff, so but it's not off the cuff. These are things that I actually sit down and I write. Some are from experience, and then some are from. I love my Facebook memories. Let's get that clear. I'm consistent in my relationship stuff. I can go back 10 years and find a memory and it'll pop up and I'm saying something of the same connotation of what I'm talking about now in the dialogue. So I'm always consistent when it comes to relationships. Let's be clear on that. But you ever been in love with someone or had a real serious liking or some deep emotion for someone and they did not feel the same? And how did that make you feel? 2-part question. Go for it.
Well, that's never happened to me. I think the way my emotions are set up, I need reciprocity in my relationships. So if I'm giving, I have to also be getting something back. If I'm opening up my heart, if I'm being vulnerable, I need the person I'm with to also be vulnerable. Or else I would stop giving. I'm just not built the way where I constantly give and I don't see any return on my investment in the relationships, and I keep getting to the point where I'm falling in love with this person and they're clearly not in love with me. So I've never experienced that. Maybe it's just I'm not as free with my emotions in my love as others. Or maybe it's just my discernment. I know when somebody likes me or when somebody loves me, and I can't waste my love or even my like on someone that's not willing to love me back. So I've never been in that situation ever.
Okay. What about you, Dr. J?
I've been on the opposite end of that, where either that person was in love with me and I wasn't ready to reciprocate, and it ended up with hurt feelings, or when I was finally ready, then they weren't ready, and it was kind of like one of these situations. And it's hurtful, because when you want to give all of yourself to a person and they cannot or will not reciprocate, it's hard. But it also teaches you to to use more discretion in your feelings and even discernment. Because as women, like you said earlier, we can be emotional. And so we tend to find ourselves, quote unquote, in love. And sometimes it's not what we think it is. Sometimes we are not in love. We are led by infatuation or lust or emotion or potential. We find ourselves falling in love with what a person could be or what they could offer us. We find ourselves looking through the wedding magazines and the photos and kind of picturing that that's us. And we become in love with what could be, when in reality, that person is just not there.
I already know Greg is ready to go deep into it. He took his glasses off. Listen, check this out. So
Took his glasses
there's
off.
something right there. You know what's so crazy about what you just said? Because people become infatuated with pictures and social media statuses to where, do they even know the work that a relationship or a marriage entails, to where you become so infatuated with the fairy tale of it, but you're not ready to do the work of it. Oh my God, that'll preach. You're infatuated with the visual of it, but you don't know the work that it entails to not only to build it, but to stay in it. Because love isn't lollipops and rainbows. Love isn't that I wake up every day and I want to put on a beat face, right, Dr. J? Or I'm going to be cute. I'm going to put on that waist thing and suck it in and I'm going to be cute. Or your man going to wake up and he going to shave. His beard going to be groomed. You know what I'm saying? His teeth, he ain't going to have a step in his teeth. Talking about getting kids. I mean, it ain't even something like that. He going to leave the toilet seat up in the middle of the night. You can go and then you go plop right in the water. It's things like that. It's the toothpaste being squeezed from a different type of direction. And then y'all know, I'm straight to the board. I don't cut, I don't sugarcoat it. It's the simplest thing in a relationship. Basically, I really want to go to a committed relationship or a marriage where you're in the house together. He ain't gonna always close the bathroom when he in there. You understand what I'm saying? She not either. There's so many little idiosyncrasies that bother people that break up relationships. They're not even prepared to, compromise, humble themselves, and be patient with, because they're caught up in moments and pictures. They caught up in a dress, like you want to dress alike, you want to be cute. It's for the pictures. Do it for the gram. You want to do it for all of these reasons. But what about doing it for love's sake? Because God is so patient with us. I don't want to preach, but God is so patient with us. He carries us along, even in our foolish mistakes, our foolish judgments, everything that we've done to mess up something. We've messed up businesses. We've messed up, relationships. We've messed up, friendships. We've messed up our families. We have done a lot of things as humans because we're imperfect, perfect creations. But he's patient with us and he loves us anyway. He provides for us. He cares for us. He shelters us. He redeems us. He restores us. He replenishes us. He gives us rest. If you ask for it enough, you'll have some peace. You get provision for your visions. You get all of these things. You get provision for your house, provision for your children. But as a couple, we don't have the same patience because we're caught up in pictures. Stop being caught up in the visual of a thing. You got to get caught up in the actual work. I promise you today, I was talking to a powerful woman of God. I'm always working something. Y'all know me. So I'm setting up a date for one of my Fragrance of the Woman conferences. And I'm like, and she was like, you got to be like Nehemiah, Connie, Lady Jacqueline. She said, you got to be like Nehemiah. And Nehemiah said, I'm doing good work. I'm focused on this. And I can't be, distracted with the cares of this world. Sometimes we don't take into consideration the work that it entails to build a strong, lasting foundation for a strong, lasting, committed relationship. Because pictures tell you one story, but the work behind the picture is what I'm concerned about, because I'm not caught up in that. It's like looking at somebody and they saying they're a prophet, or looking at somebody and they say they're a doctor, or looking at somebody and they say this and that. They got these titles and acronyms. But guess what? Can you take those hits? Can you withstand the rain? Can you withstand the fire? Can you withstand the lion's den attacks? Because relationships do that. They take fiery darts, they take floods, they take earthquakes, it takes all kinds of things to withstand a committed relationship. It ain't about pictures and cute clothes. It ain't about that. Okay, go ahead, Greg. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, I have experience in being in situations where our understanding of love was incompatible, and for me that causes a major problem, because when one does things that I know are not love, it is not that you hold offenses against people. It is the fact that you understand how detrimental this can be, period. Not understanding love will impact a relationship, not just in your expression of love, but also in your willingness to forgive, also in your willingness to, how are you loving on yourself? When you begin to love me in an incorrect manner, then I'm going to start questioning, man, do you really love yourself? Because if we are to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, and you're not loving me correctly, it kind of boils down to what you're giving yourself. And, my thing also is this: people perish for lack of knowledge. And I'm a big person about not confusing emotion with love. And I've been in situations where someone assumes because you are very, very emotional that you are loving me correctly. But the reality is they were loving what they call loving hard. And sometimes we confuse loving hard with correct love. And those things are so far from the truth. It is not about loving hard, it's about loving correctly. And sometimes we focus so much on trying to love with our emotions that we don't realize that if our actions are not demonstrating love, if our actions are not painting a portrait of God, if our actions are not producing the fruit of love in this relationship, we have to then question what we're doing. So I've been in situations, to hit your question directly, where I know that what I'm investing is not what I'm getting a return on. And for me, that's always problematic, because it is not about you doing the same thing that I'm doing, but it is about you being able to match my effort. And when my effort is not being matched, that's when I'll have a problem. That's when I'll have a challenge. But the reality is there's a level of patience that we must have with people, even inside of relationships and marriages. However, there is a point in which love can become exhausted, or love can say, hold on a minute. And I know that God is love, and we don't want to say that, but the reality is God can come to with us where God says, hold on a minute. I'm kind of tired of you being that way. So let me create something in your life that shows you. That's demonstrated in the story of how, the story of Jacob. When Jacob had been operating his own self for so long, and when his brother was coming after him, he sent his family ahead, and God showed up. He's by himself, and the man wrestled with Jacob all night long, but the man was God in a man form, a theophany. And what happened is, through that wrestling match, God had to literally hurt Jacob to make him understand what he had been doing and how wrong he was, how he was operating. So God has to sometimes break us in a moment and help us realize, hold on. In like manner, we sometimes have to understand it is okay when we have to tell people, hold on, I love you, but wait a minute, this is not right. I'm being patient with you, but let me show you how you're hurting not just yourself, but you're hurting the relationship. And let me show you how continuing to do this is not going to go right for either one of us. Well, sometimes that does not work, and it may be a failed relationship, but walking away from somebody does not mean that you do not love them. Sometimes God had to have you to leave that relationship to show them how detrimental they can be to themselves. See, we're always taught if somebody walks away from you, let them walk. It's their fault. No, it might have been your fault because sometimes you didn't do what you should have done to hold up your end of the relationship.
So, Pastor Greg, your co-host, AB, did you have something you wanted to say? Because it seemed like you wanted to say something. Did you want to say something?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay.
No.
Pastor Greg, Dr. J asked you a question. She said, give us an example
Of
of
what?
being loved incorrectly or not understanding love is.
Being loved incorrectly, anytime somebody is giving you more emotion than anything, you have to go out. The emotions are unstable. That's why we should never equate love to be emotion. Because if you are loving somebody with your emotions, you'll be all over the place. Now, love will impact your emotions. Love will create emotion. Love will make you feel some type of way at times. But to equate love to emotion and to say God is love, you're then saying God is unstable. To say God is unstable means that what you're basing your love on, what you call love, your foundation of love is rocky. If you're saying that God is unstable. So therefore, what are you standing on? Therefore, you will never be able to exist in a real relationship because you're standing on a faulty foundation. You know, we have to know, first of all, as Christian singers especially, what the foundation of our love is and the foundation of our hope is. That the expression of our love and the expression of our hope can then be correct, not just in the sight of God, but comes across correctly. I can never love you inside of my emotions because sometimes the only one who understands my emotions is me. And if I am the only one of my emotions, you will always be confused. You will never know what I mean. You will always be wondering, what did Greg mean? What is he talking about? Or I just don't quite get why he always does X, Y, and Z. Love is concrete. If love is patient, kind, understanding, keeps no record of wrong, is not puffed up, not provoked, those are concrete things. So love, therefore, has to look like that. If God so loved brother he gave his only begotten, then that means that love is self-sacrificing. So love is therefore, and I'll end here, unreservedly giving of the benefit for somebody else.
Well, now that deserves a keyboard creature. But
If I could, can I add to that love incorrectly
please,
part
please,
that he said? Like, there's so many people that been through trauma in their lives, and that trauma makes them believe that, you know, they are miseducated on what love is.
Right.
People go through abuse, and sometimes they believe that that's love. If someone when you're controlling, or if you're jealous, or if you're domineering, or you're trying to control the situation. A lot of people believe that's the way to show love. And a lot of people believe that's somebody showing them love. If he doesn't hit me, or if he's not aggressive towards me in his correction, he doesn't really love me. So a lot of trauma that people grow up around, that people grow up in, that makes them confuse what real true love, what that godly love is, and what that toxic thing, and where it's misinterpreted as love. So I think that's a big issue when it comes to that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I appreciate you for touching on that, because emotion and dysfunction. Okay, oh God, okay, slow down, because y'all know I talk fast. One of the things about being healed of toxic relationships or abuse emotional and physical abuse is that until you've done the work, until you have literally uh, laid that burden and laid that thing before God, the form of love that you consider to be love, like you said, you don't love me if you ain't checking on me and ask me where I'm going, who I'm doing it with. You don't love me because my last dude, but that wasn't love, sweetie. That was control. But you don't love me if you didn't because you didn't even try to, I was talking crazy to you. You didn't even shove me. But that wasn't love, honey. That was abuse. And it's kind of like this. People have baggage. We talk about this all the time, right? Dr. J and Pastor Gray, we talk about all this all the time. Baggage. But the baggage is not so bad. What's bad is that you haven't done the work. And you know this, AB, you counsel, you coach. If you haven't done the work to at least drop some of that bag off, you know what I mean? Like, did you get some of the baggage out? Like, did you take some of the bricks out? Did you take some of the shoes out? Did you take some of the bag? Because there's bags inside the bags. Did you take some of those bags out? Did you take your jewelry out? The thing that you wore around your neck that you thought that was your love. That was not love. And so it ain't so bad about having some wounds.
Right.
It ain't so bad about having some battle scars. The problem I have is that you don't want them to be completely healed. Do we ever get completely healed? I don't think so, because Paul said, I asked the Lord 3 times, to take this thing away from me. But he said, but my grace is sufficient. But do I want to keep on playing? Now, hey, we can all attest to this. You don't want to be Bob the Builder, and you don't want to be, Barbara the Builder. We don't want to build a woman or a man. We don't want to have to do that. We don't want to have to, play the potter. We're not God. But at the same time, I think when we get to a point where we're willing to do the counseling, we're willing to do the work to renew our minds, we're willing to cut away old stuff. It says, forgetting those things which are behind, I press towards the mark. You got to forget some of those things, and you got to, your preconceived notions and your previous way of doing things didn't work for you. That's insanity. Am I correct, AB? Am I correct, Dr. J? Insanity is doing the same thing, the same way, and thinking you're going to end up with a different result. So am I coming to your house to clean up your house and allowed to clean up the last man's house and I cook dinner at his house? Probably not. No, because I'm like, Greg, if you're not did you say that too? But you said that, AB. You got to give me the same thing. I got to see the same amount of effort. What's your effort? Don't give me a bunch of empty futile words and there's no effort behind it. There's no, you're not putting anything into play. There's no work behind it. So, I need a sure foundation. Build on a sure foundation, not just your words, because you can speak those things that are not as though they were. But faith without works is dead. Show me your faith, and I'll show you my works. But show me your works, and I'll show you my faith. Ooh, that was good. So, next question, guys. When a man or a woman, Dr. J, you touched on this. You didn't even know. That's why I love my co-host, because we be touching on stuff. We be in the spirit. When a man or a woman says that they're not ready, what should we do in those situations? Go, Amy. You smiling with a devilish grin. I want you to say.
Oh, okay. I thought Dr. J was going to jump in. So.
Oh, yeah. We'll go
okay,
first.
but yeah. No, I mean, listen. If a man or a woman says they're not ready, my first advice would be believe them. I think that's a lot of issues when it comes to relationships. Like, we don't believe what people say and what they show, and we think that we have the magic to change them. Like, we come with something special to change their minds, to make them ready. But when a person is honest enough to say that they aren't ready to be in a relationship, you have to take that as it is. For whatever reason, they may not be ready. Maybe emotionally they're not ready, or they're just not mature enough for a relationship, or they just want to play the field. You shouldn't take that upon yourself to take it as a challenge. Don't fall in love, kind of like what Doc was saying. Don't fall in love with the fantasy of what you think that person could be in your life. And try to change it, but take their words for what it is, because if you don't, you're just probably going to end up in heartbreak and disappointment and resentment. So I would say, hey, believe it when they say it.
Yep.
Dr. J.
Exactly what AB said. Believe it when they say it. I feel like a person that is not ready for a relationship, this is just me. To me, they shouldn't even be dating. Don't make yourself available and then make connections with people who have, different ideals as to what like relationships are, what they're looking for. To me, you shouldn't even put yourself in the pool and expose yourself to that, because then you have a person, and I've dealt with this personally. Listen, I've dealt with this personally where it's like, I start to like you. I want to move forward. I think we're moving forward. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Then what did you pursue me for? Why are we doing this? But yeah, like AB said, when they say it, believe them. And then remove yourself. Don't try to stick around and change it. Like, for what? Just, okay, you do you, I'll do me. If we come back together, and that's a big if, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
The big if. All right, Greg.
It's a big if.
Come with that fire. We already know where you're going. Come on.
You
Let
know,
me get my watch. I got to time you.
okay, well, time it. Just give me the thing when the time is stopped. I want to take 15 seconds first and say something about what you said about the baggage thing. I think it's important that we know what baggage to carry. You talked about the thorn in the flesh. One of the interpretations about that verse is that we assume the thorn was a bad thing. Paul thought it was a bad thing. But the text says in 2 Corinthians 12:7 that it says a thorn was given to me that I might not be conceited. So he needed that thorn to not think more highly of himself. There are a lot of times where we need to know the thorn that you're supposed to carry is your testimony. See, you think that your testimony about your failures and shortcomings is a bad thing. But sometimes God needs you not to hold on to the person, hold the memory. And hold the memory so you won't become arrogant in this moment and think that you have it all together and are not prone to make a mistake in any area of life, including relationships. Now, regarding this here, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
The person tells you that they're not ready.
Not ready. Got it. When a person tells you they're not ready, like it's already been said, you have to believe them. We have this thing where we set in our mind that love is supposed to be love at first sight. So meaning that when I initially encounter you, if I like you, you best like me. So despite what you say, if I say you are the one, then you are the one. And if I say you're the one, then we need to jump right now into a relationship and move forward.
Flag on the play. What's happening?
I got a precursor. I got a prelude into that. What about the inbox? Because I'm not the only one. This happens to men too. When they tell you that the Lord said, Dr. Say why? You already know. The Lord said you are my husband or you are my wife. That right. I like you, so we got to jump right in because the Lord said, and I prayed about it. And this is it. And you talking to me, so this has got to be God.
Well, here's my thing. God, if God spoke to you about me, then guess what? God going to speak to me about you. And my thing is, God is not the author of confusion. So if I am confused about what you're saying, God is not authoring this. And my thing is, when you begin to bear false witness against God and say what I know he did not say to you about me, I'm going to question you. People can't get me with this deep jargon, this deep church jargon, or this whatever about, God spoke this to you about me. Well, if he spoke it to you about me, it best line up and I best feel it in my spirit too. Because if I don't and it's confusing, this is not of God. And I will tell you that it's not of God. Sit down, false prophet, because you cannot speak words to me like that I know that God did not say to you about me. And I have the right to say that to you. I have the right to make the decisions for my life. I know the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And my thing is, if what you're saying is not a step that I know that I should take, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to believe that. And I'm going to tell you that you're out of order. And I also even realized that part of my steps being ordered by the Lord does not mean that you or I are not prone to make a misstep. It just means that my steps are made firm, meaning that should I make a misstep, I can do all things through Christ. Christ can strengthen me to correct my steps and not fall in my mess.
My God. AB,
Yeah.
the Lord told me you was my husband.
And you know what the dangers, there's some real dangerous ground somebody's walking on when they do that, when they say that, or when someone even tell them, I don't want to be in a relationship, and they continue to pursue it. Because most people aren't that saved. Most people aren't that kind-hearted. So if you keep pursuing someone that doesn't really want to be in a relationship, it's going to come to a point where they're going to say, let me see what I can get out of this person. They're gonna let me see how far I could push her, or how far I could push him, or what can this person be a benefit to me, knowing that I don't want to be in a relationship with her, but just the fact that she likes me so much, there's something I can get out of her, whether it's sex, whether it's money, whether it's just, I don't know, her doing some errands for me. You end up getting used. And in your mind, you're gonna think that this person, I'm wearing this person down, or they're warming up to me. But the fact is, this person might just be using you. So to go back to your question, if a person says they don't want to be in a relationship, you really got to believe them and take that as a warning sign. Right. I know a lot of people that I counsel now, and they face this type of situation, and they believe once they started making themselves sexually available to a man, that was going to make him emotionally available to her, but it didn't. He just used her for what he wanted, and at the end of the day, when he was tired, he reminded her, I told you I didn't want to be in a relationship. I was honest with you, and you kept pursuing me, but he wasn't fair with her, and she ended up hurt and torn and broken. So there's some real practical things that a person needs to be aware of when someone say, I don't want to be in a relationship. You have to take it as it is.
Mm-hmm. Dr. J. But that you went back to the other question, but this was about the Lord told me you was my husband or you was my wife.
Mm-hmm. And I think that applies to both. It applies to both, because if somebody say, hey, the Lord told me this, that means you have some divine intervention. And if the Lord didn't tell me the same thing, there's still an opportunity that I can use you for what I want, because you are so infatuated with me right now. So I think that it applies to both.
Yep.
Go ahead, Dr. J.
First, the people have to know, understand, come to the realization of the difference between the voice of God, the voice of the enemy or the accuser, and the voice of your flesh. Because oftentimes people are speaking out of their flesh, or out of their desires, or out of their intent. And sometimes they really think that God is telling them that. And so they approach you and they say, if I was to marry all the people that said that God said I was their wife, I'd be a polygamist many, many times over. Mm-hmm. Because they're speaking out of their flesh. They're speaking out of, first of all, you don't know me. So you're speaking out of what you think you see. You're talking to Dr. J. You don't know me. Now, let's preface this by saying I keep a clean home and I keep myself clean. But you don't know how I keep my home. You don't know if the food that I even post is what I cook. You're speaking out of your flesh.
Yes.
But as a person on the receiving end, you've got to discern and know the voice of God for yourself, so that you won't be fooled by every wolf in sheep's clothing that comes along to say that they're your husband or they're your wife. Because if you hear the voice of God for yourself, as Pastor Greg said, when they say it, if it is in fact God, there's going to be something in your spirit that is going to agree with what they're saying. They won't have to convince you. In fact, if God said that I'm your wife, then I'm going to know that before you even have to tell me. So when you speak it, we're going to have like a whole Mary and Elizabeth situation where babies are going to leave, because I'm already going to know. You know what, Pastor Greg?
Right.
I mean, you were phoning it up. I had to get this right.
Like, I'm already going to know. But, you know, people play these games and then, you know, listen, a bloodhound can smell blood, okay? A dog can smell a female dog in heat. So when you put yourself out there like you're in heat, or you're desperate, or you're wanting for a man, a husband, any type of relationship, whatever, you're going to get whatever scent that you're putting off. That's exactly what you're going to attract. So as a woman, you got to calm down and calm that flesh down too, and stop looking so needy and here I am, want me, I'm a wife. I can't stand the post. We know you're a wife. We know you can cook. We know you can dress. Hashtag I'm a wife, wife me, oop, oop, baby.
Yeah.
I want to disable your Facebook because you're attracting all this mess.
Yeah.
And you're going to get yourself into some mess.
Yeah.
But yes, stay out of these folks' inboxes.
So
y'all feel I feel some kind of way about that?
So listen, here's the thing. When I think about, because we don't even have to actually be out there putting that out there. We could just be out here doing what we're doing. Yeah. Posting a book, posting your traveling business in your church, posting your coaching, posting your, you know, your business, whatever that business is, posting what you do. And they'll just come because they gravitate. And then they don't have the common sense to know that you're nice and you're kind. I don't want a relationship with you. I'm just being nice to you. I'm just doing something to pass the time, sweetie. Baby, listen. Bible says, how could two walk together unless they agree? God, like Greg said, Pastor Greg said, God ain't told me that. So he told you that? All right, keep praying. Wait a minute. What did the man say? Who was that? Am I talking about Elisha? No, I'm not talking about Elisha. The prophet said he dug the ditch, right? And they was cutting themselves and they was worshiping their God. And he sat there. What's that? Eli. He sat there and he just sat there and he was like, y'all keep going. Keep on sacrificing. Keep on doing what you're doing. Because I want to see if your God answered. And so you keep on praying. You keep on hoping. Keep hope alive. Because my God ain't told me that. But your God told you that. Your carnal God, your God of this universe told you that. And so my God don't agree with your God, but he will use good and evil to work the purpose. And I don't think there's purpose in that. I'm going to stop y'all because I'm going to start preaching. We have been together. Nobody asked us any questions tonight, and I don't know why I put that out there, but we had some viewers, and I appreciate y'all. I thank you for coming on. This has been the dialogue. We're going to get together next month. We're planning for March the 6th. AB, we thank you for being with us with these last 2 times. We thank you so much. And we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Any closing remarks? I want you guys to please put your website out there for people to get the information, to know where to get your book at AB, to know where to get your book at Dr. J, and to know how to get your travel agency business and visit your church, Pastor Greg, because you ain't wrote your book yet. We still waiting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, come on, Pastor Greg.
Yes, ma'am.
You waiting on. You waiting on God. God waiting on you. Okay, let me stop.
I was fussed that last night too.
Well, let me thank you guys for having me on the show once again. It's an honor and privilege, and just it's enjoyable to sit down and talk and just listen to your thoughts and you know, glean from some from y'all wisdom. So I just appreciate being here one more time. You can find me and my books at my website, www.readyforrelationship.com. That's the number 4 in that readyforrelationship.com. So that's one way you can stay in contact with me.
Okay, Dr. J.
All right. Well, my relationship. My website is www.drj.org. My book, Dead in the Pews is available on all major platforms, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, Goodreads, etc. And yeah, you can find me there. You can find me on Facebook at Dr. J and on Instagram at Dr. J. It was really good talking to y'all today, as always.
You said www.drj.com, right?
drj.org.
.org. Okay, let me take that down. Okay. Go ahead, Pastor Greg.
I can be found on any social media platform, Gregory Divine. So I will leave you with my closing thought, which is the great hip hop R&B prophet Erykah Badu said, "Bag lady, you're gonna hurt your back, dragging all them bags like that. Don't let your desire dilute your discernment. You know, you got to think with your brain and not with your emotions. Because every time you do that in any area of life, you're going to make a misstep. And especially in relationships where things can sometimes be emotional, you got to speak and operate more out of your faith than your fear and your feelings. If you feed your faith, you will starve your fears and move forward in that truth. And I wish you all the best. God bless you all. Happy to be on again.
All righty. I'm not gonna take y'all out just yet. I'm gonna close with y'all. Because I typically put y'all in the back, but I'm gonna let y'all stay there because I see no need for that today. So this was the dialogue, the relationship platform where we talk about how he feels and how she feels. Today's topics were long distance relationships. When someone tells you that they're not ready to be in a relationship. When somebody inbox you and tells you that they are your husband or they're your wife. And when somebody, and you feel a certain type of way, you love somebody and they don't love you the same. I hope you guys go back and watch the replay. I hope that you got something from this. It's nothing formal. We're not so heavenly bound. We're no earthly good. We come from experience, but we also come from practical application. We come from reading, studying, but we also come from the spirit as well. So, hey guys, this is Dr. Constance Cooper on Divinely Exquisite Ministries. Check out The Fragrance of Him next weekend, next Saturday, The Scent of a King. Please join me for that. My bishops will be on. Oh my God, it's going to be dynamic. I know that it is. I want you guys to tap in and join in on that. And then what's coming up for next month in March, I have another dialogue. We're coming on the 6th. We agreed on it. We don't know who our special guest is going to be just yet, but I do. I know who the special guest is going to be. On March the 6th, same time, same good channel. You know how they say same bad channel? Same good channel. This channel is blessed. God has opened up doors. Check me out on Divinely Me, Divinely Me TV show. I am Dr. Constance Cooper, www.drconstancecooper.com. Y'all know I'm the author of 10 books. Got my own t-shirt line. I'm doing a lot of things, but God's doing more. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If you feel so led to sow a seed, the Cash App is down there. We would appreciate that. I know my co-hosts would appreciate that. They like coffee too. And so that's what we do with the seeds. We thank you so much. And again, that is www. Ready for Relationships, A.B. Bracel. You can find him on his platform. He has his own platform as well. And then drj.org. And then you know how to find Pastor Greg. He's all over the place. He's on everybody's Facebook Live. They want him. The babies want him. Anyway, praise God. Thank you guys for joining in. This has been the dialogue. Thank you guys. Have a good weekend.